pay close attention. You're going to get distracted. They're bringing out the old dog, the old sheepdog, Bernie the Cut Sanders, the nutless wonder himself. Now, why are they bringing out old Bernie? Now, we know Bernie's bringing out a podcast talking about his fantastic book. It's okay to be angry about capitalism. That's a Richard Nixon impression. I really can't do a Bernie Sanders impression. I'm sorry. But hang on. Old Tricky Dick's here. And Bernie, that nutless wonder, is going to tell you it's okay to be angry about capitalism. Because right now, Bernie Sanders and President Joe 30330 held a joint White House event on a healthcare push. Oh my goodness. They're dusting that old thing out, right? Healthcare. Richest country in the world. We could bail out banks and corporations. We could give endless money to Ukraine, endless money to Israel, but nothing for the people. Nothing for the lovely, beautiful people, right? So let's see what this nutless wonder has to say. Hang on, folks, because I got 2 follow-up videos to this. Hang on, let's enjoy this, where President Biden, the old dog, with the old sheepdog Bernie Sanders, talk about healthcare. Richest country in the world. And one leading cause of bankruptcy for people is medical bills.
I want to thank President Biden for what he has done on this issue.
Bernie, you and I have been fighting this for 25 years. Wouldn't have done without Bernie. Bernie was the one who was leading the way for decades.
I'm sorry. What? They've been fighting together for this? They've been fighting against each other. These are that making on this image. I'm sorry. Wait. Stop. Hold on. Shut up. Wait. What? Hold on. No. Because I remember the 2020 election. I'm not crazy. I'm not going crazy yet. I mean, someday soon I will. This is inevitable. But I remember how Biden and the Democrats were saying, "Oh, you can't do Medicare for all, bankrupt the nation. Bernie Sanders is a dreamer. He's crazy." But now they're friends. And you want to know why they're putting on this friendship kind of mask? Want to know why they're putting on this facade? It's because they know that right now the Democrats are losing voters. And the only reason they would bring out Bernie Sanders and talk about healthcare is to bring out the remnants of those believers in Bernie Sanders, that somehow he's going to hold Biden's feet to the fire and push him left. This is all a ruse. You're being tricked. You're being tricked. You're being tricked.
President Biden touting Bernie Sanders as a leader on healthcare. They joined forces today in an event that had both policy and political campaign significance. We're joined by Barack Obama's victorious 2008 campaign manager, David Plouffe, who knows both those men well, Obama and, of course, Biden and probably Bernie. You can tell us about that. And the 19th editor-at-large and MSNBC political analyst, Aaron Haynes. Welcome to both of you. David, there are those who underestimated Bernie Sanders' appeal, and I think have been proven wrong over and over. I showed just the top line numbers. Over 40% of the voting primary electorate the first time, and a quarter of it the second time in a wide race. What do you see today? Is it helpful for the Biden campaign? What does this reunion mean?
It means nothing. If you think they're going to pass Medicare for all, no. Now Biden could do it through executive order. He could, alleviate so much pain and suffering, because let's face it, big pharma and the healthcare insurance industry have a stranglehold over U.S. politics because they got a lot of lobby groups. You think these U.S. senators and House representatives want to give you Medicare for all? I mean, hell, when we asked for forced to vote way back in 2021, the 15 congressmen and women who are part of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, including AOC herself, chose not to. And by the way, people like AOC and other Democratic and Republican politicians have gold-plated health care. But yet we were told by other pundits, other people like Fat Tony and Sammy Boy Cedar says, we got to keep our powder dry, and then we can hold their feet to the fire and then use our advantage. Yeah, how's that working out, Fat Tony?
Right, first of all, any time you can lift up the issue of healthcare and paint obviously the positive accomplishments and what's happening in the Biden administration, but contrast that with Donald Trump and what he would do is very positive. I assume that's going to be a big part of the campaign, advertising and all the messaging going forward. And Bernie Sanders is enormously popular with young voters, with working class voters. I think he's not just popular, I think he's trusted. And I would expect to see him being deployed, hopefully in very smart ways in those battleground states to reach those cohorts where he's one of the most influential figures. So, this race is every president.
I told you, they're dusting out old dog Bernie Sanders to bring out the remnants of the Bernie Sanders movement of 2016 and 2020. Don't fall for it. He cucked out not once, but twice. And he's doing it live display 3 times in a row. Tic-tac-toe, 3 in a row. Bernie did that. Bernie deliberately gave up. He was never going to fight. He never was who he said he was.
Presidential race, every tight Senate governor's race comes down to a mixture of swing voters and, base turnout. I think for Joe Biden, that latter is as important, if not more important, than swing voters, as important as they are. So I think you have to pay particular care and attention to that to make sure that you don't end up doing what you need to do with suburban swing voters, but losing this election because you have not done what you need to do with young voters in particular.
Aaron, would you like to see some more Larry David playing Bernie Sanders? Are you open to that?
Listen, I mean, if the return of Bernie Sanders means more Larry David and more importantly, more Cardi B, I'm here for it.
Celebrities and musicians to distract you while people are starving, dying, facing unemployment, and so much more. It's not just a domestic issue, it's a worldwide issue. But hey, Cardi B and Larry David, great funny jokes for SNL, right? That's the trick. Because these pundits live in their own ivory tower because they want to see the celebrities again. Because they themselves are failed celebrities. They themselves are failed people. The world is burning. But, I want to see Cardi B and Larry David.
Also, your Larry David impression could use a little bit of work. All right, so
a lot of work. Could use a lot of work. It could use a lot of work. I'm going to then let him stand in for us. And yeah, shout out to Cardi B. Cardi B, of course.
Oh, please tell me you didn't do that. I bet he has a crush on Cardi B. It's okay. It's okay, man. Shout out to Cardi B. Why don't you come on our show, right?
Aaron, would you like to see some more Larry David playing Bernie Sanders? Are you open to that?
Listen, I mean, if the return of Bernie Sanders means more Larry David and more importantly, more Cardi B, I'm here for it. Also, your Larry David impression could use a little bit of work. All right, so
a lot of work. Could use a lot of work. It could use a lot of work. I'm going to then let him stand in for us. And yeah, shout out to Cardi B. Cardi B, of course.
He wants to interview Cardi B. I bet he has a crush on Cardi B. It's okay, dude. It's okay. It's okay. Hey. You know what? The world is burning. To each their own, right?
New York artist who also is a huge presidential historian buff. I'd love to get her and Beschloss in here together sometime. But she, as you mentioned, was also big into the burn. Here's more Larry. Take a look.
I'll have a beer. A new brand that people are flocking to. Something refreshing and revolutionary.
This was from 2016. This is no longer relevant. Gonna fast forward to that because probably don't want to deal with that crap.
Whatever you want to call it, I mentioned the ideas that Bernie Sanders has advocated for a long time, the authenticity. It obviously connected with some of the voting groups David mentioned more than other Democrats. And I wonder how you see that playing out in this pitch battle.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about young voters, but I mean, think about the issue that they were, teaming up together for today as this kind of, elderly Avengers moment, if you will.
Oh, God!
Healthcare, and this is an issue that kind of was throwback for them as two people who work together on this issue in the Senate. It's an issue that Bernie Sanders, to David's point, does have a lot of credibility and trust on. This is also an issue that's going to resonate with older voters. The fact that they got down the price of insulin and inhalers is something that's going to resonate with voters of color who are disproportionately impacted by diabetes.
Still cheaper in Canada and other countries. But somehow, we can't do it. By the way, our fantastic lawmakers were the same ones who told Americans that they can't buy their medicine in Canada. Same medicine, by the way, just light years cheaper.
Diabetes and asthma, for instance. So, I mean, the cost of things and the state of the economy is a top issue for voters. And so to have Bernie Sanders out there, making that case and showing that they've made progress and that they still, want to do more, right? Making that as part of their case for reelection. I think in addition to, Sanders' appeal with young voters is really going to kind of help to put together this coalition that I think Biden-Harris campaign knows they're going to need to.
Now, hold on. Bad Cookies brought this up here. And he's like saying, hey, this right here is why we will never get healthcare kit. This right here. Yeah. See, it's sort of like imagine, oh no, your car engine's failing, right? You pull over the side of the road. That's your problem. No engine at all. How are you driving it? Who knows? Because the American people are just struggling day in, day out just to make ends meet. But yet they are bringing out this false promise. This is sort of like equivalent to the tweet when AOC or Cori Bush or Rashida Tlaib would tweet out in early 2020, 2021, what would Medicare for all mean for you and your family? What would student debt forgiveness mean for you and your family? This is all what this is right here. They're dusting out the old playbook because they realize that Democrats are not bringing in the voters.
To
Well,
win.
look, Aaron, you want to get into inhaler regulation? Let's go. I'm not afraid to do that on the news. This is one of the issues that, again, matters to a lot of people's lives, but isn't, doesn't have all of the pop and excitement of other things. But specifically, we saw Sanders and Biden agree at the event today on going after what they call the corporate sort of malfeasance in this.
Also, I want to acknowledge RKZX2 says we're also paying for Ukrainian pensions as well. Oh, yes, indeed. Oh, yes, indeedy duty. Are we ever, my lovelies, my mornings, my sunshines? And you want to know what's going on? Because this recently caught my attention. I just want to pause it right here. I want to pull up this video here, and I got to be very careful because I can't play the music because, gotta keep things quiet. But hey, folks, what is corruption? There's a Ukrainian flag right there, right? But check this out. Look at that. Look at that. Houses. These are some beautiful houses. So wait a minute. These are people who are part of the Ukrainian government. These are their mansions. Wow. Servants of the people. Look at that. Oh, these are nice houses. See, the American dream has been promoted as something like this. That you'll have a nice house, pool, three-car garage. Look at that. Look at that. This will be cat fancy. The American dream is soon becoming the American legend. The myth, the mythology of it. The mythology of it all. The mythology of owning a house. You will own nothing and be happy and eat the bugs.
We'll name some names. Sanders and other lawmakers singling out 4 manufacturers of inhalers: AstraZeneca, Boehringer, Teva Pharmaceuticals, and GSK, including what they say is pretty damning, which is that the prices are higher in the United States than other places, David. This speaks to, again, it's a complex regulatory field, but one thing that apparently Sanders and Biden agree on is you should use the power of the federal government to have fair prices rather than price gouging that abuses sort of what they can't get away with in Europe. David.
Well, absolutely. And again, I think everything in this campaign has to be painted through a contrast lens. So I think, Joe Biden can talk about, with the help of Bernie Sanders and others, what they've done on things like insulin, and then talk about what they want to do, taking on, the big incumbent corporate interests on behalf of the American people. And Donald Trump obviously is going to do the exact opposite. So your healthcare costs will rise. He'll take the side of, the big pharmaceutical companies every time. So I think that when you think about, states like Wisconsin, Arizona, Michigan, all the battleground states, they're going to be decided at least as it looks right now, by, 10, 20, 30, 40,000 votes. And you think about in those states, there's plenty of people where the cost of inhalers, the old cost of insulin, really important to them every day. And so I think that the nice thing about this issue, as on just about every issue, starting with abortion, is you've got diametrically opposed next 4 years if you have a Biden administration or a Trump administration.
It doesn't matter who's going to be president, okay? Like, in all honesty, I don't know how this election will play out. There's a very good chance that Donald Trump could win a second term, even though he has a lot of these legal issues. But even if Biden were to win, I mean, they're not going to do anything about Medicare for all. I know for a fact Donald Trump isn't going to do anything. He did bring it up once during his administration, like, hey, how come we don't make this affordable? But because he surrounded himself with yes men and yes corporate jagoffs. I got the dog next door that's barking loud. He's agreeing with me. So there you go. But nonetheless, they shut that up right away because they don't want the American people to be healthy and secure. They want you guys to be broke and bled dry, to work till you're dead. So it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter who's going to sit on the throne. I know how I'm voting. I'm voting independent third party because I at least want to have a clear conscience and then eat a nice steak dinner on election night and watch. And if Trump gets elected in, at least I'll take comfort in watching liberals cry. And that'll be my high point of the evening. Well, second high point, eating a nice steak dinner.
And I think you have to pound that every day in every way, both the message and the right messenger. And I think Bernie Sanders is a good messenger for a lot of voters out there on an issue like healthcare generally and some of these pocketbook issues in healthcare specifically.
Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly right, and also just the idea that these are things that have been delivered, and also if you like this and you want more of this, right? I mean, you've got Biden and Sanders out here saying, we are looking out for you, the consumer, and that is a direct contrast to former President Trump, who is at this point very much looking out for himself, trying to figure out ways to pay his legal bills, right?
I know, because it all comes back down to Donald Trump. Donald Trump, the bad guy, the orange boogeyman, woogie boogie boogie.
Right, so he's not necessarily looking to protect consumers so much as he is trying to sell you a Bible for $60 to kind of worry about his own personal economic needs. I think that is a pretty stark contrast with the economy being such a top concern for so many voters.
Well, David, we're running near the end of the conversation, but you are close with former President Obama. Does he have plans to sell Bibles? If so, will they be reasonably priced?
That's a dumb question. God, BSD. I am. See, me and Daniel have been talking about this, and we do see an end of corporate media. The business model will fail. Now, they'll try and be a parasite and get onto social media, but the fall is coming. And look, it's not happening anytime soon, but this institution that we have, the mainstream media, is going to crumble. It's going to fail. Now, when that will happen, unfortunately, I wish I had a date, because in that way, we are going to do a street party, okay? It is going to be a block party. It's going to be a block party likes of which even God has never seen. But that's a dumb question. Obama selling Bibles. Oh, this is Barack Obama. I got a Bible to sell you.
Or highly overpriced. What light can you shed on that? Do you want to make any news tonight?
All I'd say, Ari, is I'm not sure there's a person on the planet who's violated more of the 10 commandments than Donald Trump. So the notion that this guy's out there hawking Bibles and getting support from the community is one of the most bizarre things we've seen in American politics, and we've seen a lot of bizarre things.
Yeah, I haven't heard it put like that. And it's only, there are 10 of them. David Plouffe and Aaron Haynes.
Yeah, there are 10 commandments. God, I hate these people.
As we try to make sense of all this, I appreciate you both. Thank you.
So, look, what exactly happened also with that meetup of Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden? Well, there's only a 41-second clip from Fox News because Biden showed up late. He showed up late to that event with his good friend Bernie Sanders.
Today, Biden overslept and was late to an 11 o'clock speech. He didn't show up until an hour later.
Now pay close attention to that little strap mark right there. We talked about this before.
And if you look closely, you can see the CPAP creases on his face. He wears a machine around his noggin to keep him breathing at night. He has sleep apnea. And if he has a creasy face at noon, he just got out of bed. He kept Bernie Sanders waiting an hour. That's either a power move by Biden or that's just sleepy. The president didn't fly home from a West Coast campaign stop last night late. Yesterday, the president did nothing. He had a phone call. That's it.
Yep. And then, of course, hey, right here, Biden, dazed and confused, shakes hands with socialist Bernie Sanders, ignores questions, and shuffles right back out the door. This is the leader of the free world. We have a guy who clearly, look, and has a lot of medical issues. This does not bring up or inspire people. This does not raise up enthusiasm for people to support Joe Biden. And this is why I, once again, am not going to support the Democratic Party. I am voting independent, third party, come election night. This is beyond torture.
Please welcome back to stage Senator Bernie Sanders.
Thank you all. Thank you, pardon you.
Responsible for the world's central kitchen strike, Mr. President.
And he's off stage. That's it. Bye-bye, folks. Yep. Nope. Nothing. So what do we learn from this? It's important that we ask ourselves, what did we learn from this? Well, first of all, this is one big distraction. They're telling you to get excited, you, the voter, to get excited because Bernie Sanders and Biden are talking about Medicare for all. And we saw that lame duck interview on corporate media, on BSDNC, talking about Bernie Sanders and his health care and what it means and the accomplishments of Joe Biden. But we're never going to get anything like that because Americans are still paying out of pocket just to make ends meet, just to survive. And yet, at the same time, too, you got these same corporate media pundits talking about Larry David and Cardi B, especially that one news anchor. He seemed to be so excited to talk about Cardi B, right? Careful, buddy. Just don't leave your beverage around her too long, okay? Because you might take yourself a long nap and might be missing a kidney the day after. But nonetheless. And then you'll need that Medicare for all. You'll need that health care. I am not impressed with this. This is just, I see right through it. This is just a way to bring in voters to the Democratic Party because somehow there's this idea and notion that the Democrats care. They don't care. Even when they had a supermajority, way back when Barack Obama was president, when they could have had a public option for the Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, Romney Care. They could have done that. And there's Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, Romney Care, is nothing to be proud about. But they even denied a public option when they had a supermajority. Hell, a woman's right to choose her reproductive rights under a Democrat supermajority. Barack Obama said it was going to be the first thing he was going to take care of, but then he said, it's not politically expedient at the time. Even when we asked the Democrats to do a forced vote for Medicare for all on the House floor, we asked our congressional progressive quote-unquote heroes to step up for us, and they didn't lift a goddamn finger. And now what? We're supposed to believe that Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden are going to do something? They're not going to do a damn thing. Nothing will fundamentally change because actions speak louder than words. Perception drives reality. And the Democrats, just like the Republican Party as well, do not respect the American people, but yet they get to have gold-plated health care. They and their families get to have gold-plated health care. You think they want to give that to you, the American people, so you can improve yourselves and not be in debt? They want you forever in chains. That's the truth of it.